Let's respond to Professor Mike Ozekhome, the senior advocate, the most revered man, or one of the most revered men in our country. Prof, we will respond to you, and we must respond to you like we did to Wole Soyinka. You know what? I will start by telling you that you are one of the men we revere so much. You have been someone I hold to high esteem. You have been someone that I know, to some extent, has contributed to Nigeria. At least in your field, the legal field. You have also lent your voice in several times to something I would say is your desire for a greater Nigeria. But you know what? When you are also missing it, we will let you know. There is something called the law of marginal utility, or better still, let me use a simpler one, the law of diminishing returns. That law says that when more and more of a commodity, of an item, of any stuff is utilized, the satisfaction derived falls. I think on both ends, on the younger populace of Nigeria and on your own end, in that generational strata, the same thing is happening. The law of diminishing returns is happening. We are getting tired of you guys as much as you don't like us. Because your inactivity kept us where we are today. You are someone I've always listened to, so recall what it has been for Nigeria in your own days. That rhetoric is beginning to sound like useless because of your inactivity, because of the complacency of you fathers, the people that were supposed to set the ground for us. And why we're not keeping quiet is that in your time, when you were supposed to be doing something, you were crying foul. You didn't do anything, and now we are here. We don't want to be in your shoes, watching things go down the drain without doing anything.
Yeah, I think the youth should not be afraid of going into politics because of what is happening. Rather, they should try to change the narrative and redefine the landscape. Because politics will continue to be politics.
I'm responding to you today because of your involvement with the new national anthem, or the change in the national anthem. I had called out on you last week to let Nigerians know your level of involvement, because you have been referenced so much in that regard. And proudly you came out to tell us that you solely pushed for that change.
Well, speaking about the youth, Prof, quite a number of them don't understand the rationale behind why we had to resort to the old, which is now new, national anthem. They just wonder, they seem to be lost in the thing. They thought two options: either we modify what we had before, or even if we're going to go with the old one, but we adopted the old one. You played a key role at that time too, the conference. I think part of which got you another famous name, many have forgotten, the Cerebral.
The Cerebral. The Cerebral of the 2014 conference.
Exactly. So
it was conferred on me by the conference leadership, 2014. Yeah.
And they seem to have acceded to what you had suggested at the time.
Yeah, because that time, I would say I played the role of a Nostradamus, the man who saw tomorrow. So what the National Assembly did last week with the president assented on the 29th of May was what I saw 10 years ago. Let me educate us further on this. A lot of Nigerians do not know the difference. They have criticized the reintroduction of the old national anthem, for example, on the ground that it was composed by Britain, the foreigner, Miss Bender, Francis Bender, and the music was sung by Lillian Williams. But they do not, they say, why do we criticize the name Nigeria? Niger area, as named by Miss Flora Louisa Shaw on 8 January 1897 in an article she wrote in the London Financial Times, that it's because she was a foreigner, not necessarily. This one, that was because she was a foreigner, and she put the name on us. We didn't agree to be called Nigeria, right? But in this case, a panel was set up to be independent. Entries were invited from across the world. It was headed by Fela Shewande, a great musicologist who trained in London. Panel of 6 was a Nigerian from Abeokuta. He headed the panel. And entries were received from all over the world: United States, UK, Senegal, Cyprus, Ghana, all over. And entries ended at the 1st March 1959. The prize was £100 for the best It must be in English. Frances Bender won it. She donated the £100 to the Red Cross. She was a staff with the Federal Ministry of Internal Affairs, Labour and Welfare. Then for the composition, Lillian Williams won it. And she won £1,000. So it was a contest thrown open to the whole world. But for the flag, the Nigerian flag, it was to be only by Nigerians. And Michael Akikumi won it. She was a student in England. So the entire national anthem was therefore indigenous, done by Nigerians, midway by Nigerians, or like the name Nigeria. Now, having done that, we got that national anthem, which has the gusto, the gravitas, to move Nigeria forward. But suddenly we came in 1978 with Arise, O Compatriots.
Now we can see that you're feeling good. That 10 years after a recommendation you made in a conference that is supposed to see to the unity of your generation is being implemented. You are feeling good that your recommendations are being implemented. And that is why you don't see anything wrong. You see the hypocrisy? You call those who are rejecting the new national, it's not even new, the national anthem change, hypocrites. But the real hypocrites are people like you, who, because what they say is being implemented, does not see anything wrong in it, in a time where this country is falling apart, is in tatters, like a dilapidated building. Thank you for the piece of history, telling us how that national anthem came on board. Our kicking against it is not just because of the reason you gave about the involvement of colonialism or traces of colonialism in it. That is one of the reasons. It's not the only reason. Thank you for the history. That piece of history is useful to us, knowing how that national anthem came on board, because a lot of us didn't know the details. Thank you for that piece of history. But let me tell you that history without action becomes a story. When history is not matched with action, it's not connected with our present reality, it's not married with a today history, it becomes a story. You were just simply telling us a story. That's many years after colonialism. You invited entries all over the world to write a national anthem. Fine and good. It was relevant at the time. But we changed it. If Tinubu is implementing that, it is also partly because he has always not been a fan of Olusegun Obasanjo. So, you helping him sustain his bickering and war with Obasanjo is none of our business. Now, I can also see that it brings back the nostalgia of your time. After the contention recognized in that conference, the 492 delegates, according to you, busted out singing that national anthem. It was just because of the nostalgia of their time, not because it is relevant in our time. And I'm going to tell you why it is not relevant and why we don't need it. We have changed that anthem, charting a new course on something, not reminding us of the kind of past you guys are building our future on, or the kind of past you guys built today on. Well, you handed your children a banner that is stained, not just stained with death alone, stained with blood. That banner is being stained, and we will not go with it. You have also raised a land where our comprising nationalities are being oppressed. It's not like we are not recognizing our differences. We know who we are, but we choose not to make it a problem. You know who you are, and you guys choose to make it a problem. You make your individual identities the problem of Nigeria. We have a nation to build in our generation, and we don't make our individual differences, our ethnic orientation, our genealogy, our identity a problem. It is the variety in the nation we have, the beauty of the colors in our flag, the beauty of who we are, and we recognize it as a whole, not the fragments you want to cement by bringing back your national anthem. We respect our individuality as different nationalities in Nigeria. And that is why we don't rub it on each other's faces. We will build on it. It will be our beauty. It is what has given Nigeria the greatness it has. We are not running away from it. We simply refuse to make it a problem. If we were better, then what did your generation do to make us remain better, if not best? Every man went seeking his own way. Every man went seeking his own way, his own pockets. And you people, as legal luminaries, defended them on the grounds of technicalities, of evidences, removing the balance, the equity in the scale of justice. That is why our country is where it is today. And we, the younger generation, are fighting not to be trapped in your web. If it was better then, what happened? It is because the adults, the fathers who were supposed to build, who were supposed to be custodians, who were supposed to guard jealously our togetherness, gave way to division, went to sleep. They were not talking. They were massaging the ego of politicians. They were sounding politically correct. They were closing their eyes in the face of injustices. They were supporting indirectly the wrong things. We won't make the mistakes people made. When we have cerebral men and women who wait to be fortunate in the midst of a deliberate plundering of our country, then they become irrelevant. They become very irrelevant. When we have intellectuals who are supposed to drive and push for the development, the smooth running, and the proper running of our country, and they keep quiet and are speaking grammar to us, they become very irrelevant. Like Professor Wole Soyinka, many of you are becoming very irrelevant because it looks like there are people you are trying to please. You are not planning for now. You are not planning for tomorrow. You are not seeing ahead. You are still battling where you left yourselves in the past. We are the now. We have a nation to build, and we cannot play into the mistakes of your generation. We will fix what weren't fixed. We will caution ourselves where we need to. We will speak up where we need to. We will take responsibility where we need to. We will not be in denial. We will not look helpless, and we will not bequeath rubbish to the next generation. You people give way. We will do it our own way. Yesterday, children, the youths that are said to be the leaders of tomorrow have now grown, and we want to change things. We will remove everything and how you have done it, and we will do it the way we think should be done. It is called taking responsibility. And to end this talk, your old national anthem will still be there. We will recall it when we want. The one we know is the one we will sing. And peradventure, we find ourselves in a congregation comprising your generation and my generation. You will be singing your own. We will be singing our own. And better still, we are going to create a new anthem. Not a national anthem. An anthem for young people, so that there will not be strife. We will have a song combining us, bringing us all together, helping us push through the shenanigans of your generation, your complacency that has kept us where we are.
But I wouldn't say that the youth should now be afraid of going in because of what is happening. Rather, they should dare it, go in, and change the narrative and shame our generation. But I do not know whether the youth are ready for that. I see them more on the social media. They want to be essays and PAs.
Yeah. Well,
So compatriots, Nigerians call obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with hearts and minds, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and live in just and true. Great lofty heights are attained to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign.